Obviously exciting for us to be back up in Berea in front of our fans, which it's amazing the amount of juice that you get from playing in front of your own fans. So excited to have our group out here. I can promise you the players will get a little bit more pep in their step with our fans out here. So another good day of work out here. Got some no huddle planned, got some 2-minute planned, really working some different situations. The bulk of the reps will go to our starters in this practice as we ease back on the players that will be playing in this game. Speaking of the game, Kellen Mond will start. Dorian will play the second half. And then I'll get the rest of the list to you later, but because I haven't shared it with the rest of the players, so I can't go position by position, but it'll really be backups. But there'll be some players that have played a lot for us playing in this game because it's a great opportunity. We get to play in this game. That's our mentality. So we're excited to go up against the Jets on Thursday night, and Coach Sala, I think, will be a great night for our organization and honoring Joe. But we're excited about that opportunity. But first things first, I should have a really good day today. Any questions?
Kevin, when you evaluate the totality of camp, does a game day weigh more than a practice day?
I think it's all part of it, Tony. I think certainly going up against another team is helpful also in that you're now live and it's full speed tackling, it's full speed pass pro, whatever it may be. So I think that, yes, it is a major factor of it, what percentage you weigh each thing. It's a total picture, but certainly in the games it's a big part of it based on the fact that these are live opportunities.
Hey, Kevin, how do you think
Good to see you, Jeff.
thanks, good to be here. How do you think Bubba Ventrone's energy connects with his special teams unit?
Yeah, Bubba's been awesome. Not surprised, just knowing Bubba and what he's about. You know, a former player, he can really speak to the things we're doing from his perspective, which is, as a former player and a guy who's been coaching for a little while in this league, I think he's got credibility from those guys. But he's got a great way about him, and I think he's very demanding of his players.
Kevin, you got Kellen after the cut-down date last year, so you didn't even see him in the preseason. This is really going to be his first opportunity to get out there. How has he grown over the last year?
Yeah, I think Kellen's done a great job. Really, like you mentioned, Chris, really just there's a period of just getting to know him early in the season last year. So he's done everything we've asked him to do. I've been very impressed with him both in the meeting room and on the practice field. And the fun part for our players, as you know, is to play in these games. So I think Kellen's excited about the opportunity.
Kevin, Jim said one of the goals is for the defense to lead the league in effort and passion. Have you been pleased with what you've seen in that area to this point, and how important is that to you?
Oh, very important. I mean, that's what our defense is built on. And I think Jim, as you guys have seen and as you've probably heard, he makes sure the players know where they stand in that given moment, in that given practice. So he's demanding of it. And just the style in which we play defense here with Coach Schwartz, that is how we operate. It's how we get off the ball. It's how we attack the ball. So the defensive staff has done an outstanding job so far.
Kevin, when you go over the game plan for Thursday, do you particularly use a certain set of plays, or is it just more to get these guys reps?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is you want your players to play fast. You want them to give a great accounting of themselves, and you don't want to slow them down with a lot of scheme. I know Coach Sala has a very similar approach to this, so it'll be a great opportunity to challenge our guys, but you don't want to bog them down by scheme. You want them to be able to play fast.
Do you have an update on Tyrone Wheatley?
I don't have an update yet, no.
Well, you brought in a cornerback with some play-game experience.
Yeah.
Why?
Just lost Bo Pete to injury, so really replacing that spot on the roster.
Kevin, you
Yes.
brought so many new pieces into the defensive line this offseason, but what have you seen from the younger guys who are coming back, like Alex Wright, Isaiah Thomas, as these new guys come in and they're still trying to prove themselves?
Yeah, I think it's great, Ashley, to have good players in the room. Competition brings out the best in people, so it's a really competitive room, but they push each other. They push each other in the meeting room. They push each other on the practice field. You mentioned Alex, you mentioned Isaiah, two young players that, they played meaningful snaps for us last year, so we're excited about them, but it's also great for them to be around Zadarius Smith, to be around Dalvin, to see how pros operate.
Kevin, with Jakeem Grant getting a lot of return reps here, obviously you're working him back in. Just how close is he, and how pleased are you with how fast he's been able to bounce back.
Yeah, he did an awesome job rehabbing. So we're bringing him along. He's hitting every benchmark that he's supposed to hit. So I think we'll see more and more of him throughout practice. But he's doing a great job.
Kevin, with Dorian.
Coach Schwartz doesn't seem to sugarcoat anything, especially out here. How do you think the players have responded to his coaching style?
Yeah, I think I think we've talked about Coach Schwartz over when we first hired him. He and I see the game very similar. He's very honest. Sometimes, that can be taken as brutal honesty, but I just think he's very authentic in his nature. He's been doing it at a high level. I know from my perspective, I get to see a guy who coaches him hard, but it's fair. He's fair with the guys. He's just going to call it like it is.
Kevin, with Dorian, how important are these game reps for him, especially if he's getting so many, in this particular game?
Yeah, like kind of with what we were saying earlier. I mean, every rep's important. Those game reps, they can tackle you now. They're not worried that you're wearing a red jersey. So you are playing the game at full speed. You got to play fast. Everything's going to happen faster for all those rookies that are playing in their first preseason game under the lights. So just looking for him to operate and really take an extension of what he's been doing here on the practice fields to the game.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how important is that just the operation stuff?
Yeah, it's huge. You oftentimes hear with quarterbacks that he functions well or he gets them in and out of the huddle. That's just part of the gig. Dorian, obviously, in his experience at UCLA, it's a little bit different with how we operate. He's done great, but certainly part of the plan for him is to make sure that when he's in there, we're getting in and out of the huddle, getting the line of scrimmage, making your run checks. Will all be great reps for him.
How do you balance, playing time for some of the guys, are kind of on, especially in a game like this? I mean, how does that decision?
Yeah, it's case by case. It's player by player, and we sit down and we talk about it. Just feel like at this point, with our plan, we think it makes the most sense to play some of the younger players. There will be veterans playing in this game. Maybe they're playing for a shorter amount of time, and then you get them out. But we look at this as an awesome opportunity for our young football players. They're going to get a ton of reps in this football game against a different team, tackling to the ground, full speed, all those type of things. Hopefully different situations come up that we've covered throughout this camp so far. So really that's where the importance of just making sure that everybody knows what to do is so important.
Will this also represent sort of a mini break for a lot of the veterans because they really don't have much to do physically until Sunday?
I'm not going to call it a break. They're still going to get their work done. So they'll work good. They'll have a good dose of work today. They'll get some work in tomorrow with their coaches out here on the field. The day of the game, they're going to get a lift and a run. So every day will be a physical opportunity for them.
I feel like where you are at tackle behind Jed and Jack.
Yeah, I think at this point in camp, you're just making sure you get as many guys in there as you can and rep them. But I think James Hudson has been very impressive to me throughout the spring and into this summer. Have some young players that we continue to bring along. So, yeah, it's a good group, and as you know, you just got to get everybody ready to play.
Speaking of the tackles, what have you seen from Jedrick Wills?
Jed's done a nice job. I think came back in great shape. Is playing at playing throughout the practices, throughout the individuals, at a high level. The intensity is there, so I think he's in a really good place.
AVP mentioned Hudson too has impressed him. Did you see that growth last year from when he played a little bit as a rookie to when he had to play early last season?
Yeah, I think with James, as we've talked about back as a rookie, he played more than we probably thought he would, right? He got thrust in there due to injury, but he's taken every single one of those experiences, used them to get better. We love his mentality. Former defensive player, you love that mentality at that tackle position. He plays right on the edge.
Kevin, a similar question about receivers. Of your young guys, whose development has impressed you?
I don't want to single anybody out right this minute. They've done a nice job. As you can imagine, we've had some injuries there, and then Coop was out for a minute, so there were extra reps that were going around throughout down there at the Greenbrier, and we'll continue here. We'll get a ton of reps for these young guys. But they've done a nice job. Coach O'Shea works them really hard. Callie's in there with them, making sure that everybody's ready to go from a mental standpoint. So I think they're all right where they need to be.
Would you say Jerome Ford would play in this game, or you're not ready to say that?
Yeah, I want to talk to the rest of the team in terms of who's playing.
Is he back?
He's back, yes.
Kevin, on Thursday we're going to get our first look at the new kickoff rules. Is there any intrigue from you guys on how that's going to look and how it's going to play out in an actual game situation?
Yeah, I think we're all curious how it all plays out. There may be some teams that hold what they're doing until week 1 and not necessarily in the preseason, but we'll kind of see how it goes. Hopefully we'll be covering some kicks and getting some kick returns, and in the punt game I think that's a big aspect of this as well, is getting some live coverage reps and hope you don't love to punt all the time, but it's okay to get some punts in there, some punt return opportunities for all of our young players.
Coach, with Deshaun, how much more comfortable is he, you feel, with the offense here in year 2?
Yeah, Deshaun's done a nice job, as we've talked about. Has come back really into training camp, certainly ready to go. Spent a lot of time over his break with our players, getting his mind ready for this opportunity. So he's done a great job.